What's going on, everybody? Striving Emperor here. So chapter 1053 of One Piece gave us a lot of interesting things. For one, we saw the reveal of Luffy, Law, and Kid's bounties. They all have the same bounties, 3 billion berries. We saw the reveal of the new emperors, the new Yonko. Blackbeard and Shanks still keep their position, but Luffy has been added. He's officially an emperor. Nobody's surprised here, but the one person that stole the show, the newest addition to the emperors, one Buggy D Clown. This guy is an emperor. How in God's name did Buggy become an emperor? How is he one of the Yonko? What did Buggy do to the world government that made them sit back and say, yo, we gotta make Buggy an emperor? Like, legitimately, what could he have done? It must have been something he did, or something one of his army did, or one of his men did. I don't know what he did, or what he could have even done to convince these guys. I'm not even convinced, but just to... what did he do? I keep thinking about that every day. I'm sitting back and thinking, what did Buggy do to convince the world government that he should be an emperor? What did he do? I really gotta think. What did he do? He had to push some sort of buttons in the world government that made them sit back and say, you know what? He's gotta be an emperor. What did Buggy do? That's the big question. What did he do to become an emperor? That reveal was fantastic. And then we also get the reveal that Pluton is in Wano. Obviously, the Chronicles back in Alabasta alluded to Pluton being in Wano. Well, now when we're here in Wano, it has been confirmed Pluton is in Wano. So there were a couple things from the chapter that definitely piqued our interest. However, there was one aspect that really piqued everybody's interest and sparked up the long debate between admirals and emperors. And that was the face reveal of Admiral Green Bull. Now, we've known about Green Bull for a while. We didn't know much about him, but we knew he was an admiral. We knew him and Fujitora took on Sabo and the other revolutionaries back at Mary Jawa. So we just don't know what happened there, but we knew they had some sort of clash. So we were waiting to get a reveal. We had some sort of speculation that he had some sort of plant devil fruit. And based on what he's shown us in this chapter, we could basically assume, yeah, he's got a plant-based devil fruit. But about that, his abilities and what he did in this chapter is what got everybody riled up about the emperors and the admirals and how they fare in terms of strength. This man, Green Bull, completely washed all the remnants of the Beast Pirates, including King and Queen. Now, I get it. These guys were badly injured. A week passed, so people expect, especially because of the Straw Hats and how they looked, they were badly injured, but a week passed and we saw the Straw Hats and everyone was doing good. And, you know, Law and Kid looked pretty much 100%. Luffy looked damn near 100%. Zoro looked damn near 100%. Everyone's pretty much almost healed. So people took that and said, well, if they're almost healed, these guys got to be almost healed as well. But I'm not sure that's the case, especially when it comes to King and Queen. For God's sakes, King had one of his wings cut off by Zoro. Zoro cut off one of this man's wings. That's not gonna heal in a week. Sanji literally cooked Queen's insides with his Ifrit Jambe. That Ifrit Jambe cooked that man to a T. His insides were boiling. So that doesn't just heal up in a week. So there was definitely a debate about that, but either way, people expected them to be able to put up a good fight. But in a very interesting display of power, this man, Green Bull, washed these guys. And it didn't even look like he had any trouble with King or Queen. And he even said, for somebody in my position, I cannot be struggling against commanders like you. I can't. So it's very interesting to see that. And another thing was, we were also seeing him use his powers in terms of, I don't even know if they were roots or vines, however you want to take it. But basically, he was utilizing his powers and he was sucking the energy out of all the Beast Pirates, including King and Queen. Queen started to get really skinny. So he was sucking out all of their nutrients. and rendering them weak. And I'm guessing that's how he eats, because he hasn't eaten in years. So I'm guessing that's how he eats and continues to replenish himself. I don't know. We don't know much about Green Bull's Devil Fruit, but him washing the Beast Pirates and then draining them of their energy and their nutrients, that was crazy. That was just crazy. And seeing how he did that with ease immediately got everybody sparked up again about the long debate between Admirals and Emperors. Who's stronger? You got the one side that says the Yonko are just stronger than the Admirals. You got the other side that say the Admirals can take care of the Yonko. They're stronger. And then you got the middle ground where most people are that say when it comes to strength, they're fairly similar. They're equal in power. The four Emperors are equal in power with the Admirals. That's just been a long debate that's been going on pretty much since, how long you want to say? Since Marineford? Probably even before. No, I'm going to say before that. Since the introduction of the four Emperors. So let's say going all the way back to post Enies Lobby, when we got the introduction to the four Emperors, that's probably when the debate started to happen. Once we got to Marineford and we started seeing the Admirals taking on Whitebeard, that's when people started to sit back and say, yeah, you know what, we could have a conversation. I think maybe the Emperors are stronger, and some people are like, no, the Admirals are stronger. And that's been a constant debate, and it's something that has continued to spark up. And now with Green Bull displaying this power, and the fact that he washed two commanders with ease, with no struggle, people are back on that debate. And it's been a never-ending debate. Now, in terms of my opinion, how do I fare it? I think they're equal in strength. I've always believed that the Admirals and the Emperors are equal in strength. There's always been a balance. That's just how it's been. There's been a balance between the world government with their Admirals, the four Emperors, and then the seven warlords. There was always a three-layered balance as to how the world was governed. Obviously, the warlords are gone now, so that means the power has increased with the world government because they abolished the warlord system, which of course we know because apparently Vegapunk created some sort of weapons that rendered the warlords useless, which is why they decided to go capture them. But yeah, I've always believed that the Admirals and the Emperors, they were of equal strength. Now, you can make the argument in terms of, I'm talking in terms of totality. In terms of a one-on-one situation, if Kaido was going up against Kizaru, you can make the argument that some people will say Kizaru should be able to handle Kaido, but we haven't seen much of Kizaru's abilities to the point where we believe he could do that level of damage to take out Kaido. At the same time, people look at Kaido and say, yeah, Kaido's gonna wash Kizaru. But at the same time, we don't exactly know how he would handle Kizaru's abilities, because that man's going at light speed and he's got some destructive powers as well. The thing that makes it most interesting was beforehand when Akainu was still an admiral and you saw his magma devil fruit. That one was a true discussion, like Kaido versus Akainu. Who do you think wins that one? That's a very interesting conversation. So we always thought that, many of us always believed that they were on equal strength, but there's always been the two that have been debating as to saying, no, Emperors are stronger. Oh, no, Admirals are strong. You see Akainu, his magma powers, you saw him put a hole in Whitebeard's chest, but Whitebeard was old. He's not doing that to Kaido or Big Mom. It's always been an endless debate, and it's been fun. I've always been one to say that they're of equal strength, but in a one-on-one situation, I'm gonna be honest. Man, even thinking about myself, if it's a situation where you have one admiral taking on one emperor, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it depends on the matchup. That's my thing. It depends on the matchup. Are you getting a Big Mom versus Fujitora type fight, or a Big Mom versus Green Bull type of fight? Are you getting Kaido versus Fujitora, Kaido versus Green Bull, or Kaido versus who? What's the matchup? I think the matchup matters to me, but I'm talking in totality. When you look at the power of the three admirals and you look at the power of the four emperors, I think they're near close in strength. Maybe you want to give the edge to the emperors because they got four and that extra person puts them over the edge, but I've always been one to believe that they've been of similar strengths and powers. That's how they've been able to keep the balance for so long, because the strengths of the admirals combined should be able to match the strengths of the four emperors. That's how the balance has always been. But the debate's been interesting. I've seen a lot of interesting debates, a lot of conversations as to who would win in a fight. In all honesty, I'm gonna be honest. If Akainu was taking on any of the Emperors, I think I'd put my money on Akainu. If it's Akainu versus Kaido, I think that's a really tough fight. But the guy has arguably the strongest Devil Fruit in the series. I mean, Magma is literally, that is lethal, man. That is legitimately lethal. And considering the fact that Kaido, last time we saw him, both him and Big Mom were swimming in lava and swimming in magma, I just don't know, bro. I just don't know. They were taking a swim in lava, and we haven't heard from them since. We'll see what happens when chapter 1054 comes out in a month, but like, or whenever the story continues, we might be seeing more Big Mom and Kaido. We might find out what happened to them since a week passed, but I just don't know. I feel like if you're counting a Kaido in this situation, he's probably gonna win in a one-on-one situation. He's got a better chance of winning than anybody else in this situation. So it's always interesting to me in terms of how we make that pick. But honestly, I don't have a specific debate because I don't take either one of the sides. I've always been of the mindset that the Emperors and the Admirals are of equal strength. Therefore, I don't have one over the other because they have to keep that balance. It's always been the balance between the 4 Emperors, the 3 Admirals, and the 7 Warlords. So I've always thought that was an equal balance. Now with the Warlords, that's an entirely different situation. But when it comes to the Admirals and the Emperors, I've always thought they were of equal strength. However, I've loved the debates, and I know another debate will start too because the Reverie will be here soon. I believe JD Legend will be the host of the Reverie this year, so I mean, that's going to be fun. I love JD Legend. Shout out to him. It's going to be fun. I know ZKK will definitely be mentioned there because there's no way Jay's going to let that whole Reverie go without mentioning ZKK. That he's probably going to have they're going to have a whole moment where ZKK is like in a funeral setting. It's going to be like a ZKK funeral, and it's going to be hilarious. So that's going to be talked about. But since Green Bull did what he did, I know for a fact we will have a conversation in the Reverie involving Admirals versus Emperors. So I cannot wait to see the Conquerors clash between Brago and King of Lightning because they're going to go at it when it comes to that debate. I just can't wait for the Reverie. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to see what everyone has to say. I'm definitely going to be tuning in. Definitely going to be tuning in. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. I don't really have much to give in terms of the debate between the Admirals and the Emperors because I've always believed that they're of equal strength. I will say this though. Now that Buggy's been added, I think you gotta I'm gonna be serious. You might have to put the Admirals over the top. Yes, Luffy's there too, but if we're talking about Shanks, Blackbeard, and Luffy, Buggy's not doing anything to the Emperors. So it's Shanks, Blackbeard, and Luffy versus Fujitora, Green Bull, and Kizaru. If I was to go by my mindset that the 4 Emperors and the 3 Admirals were of equal total power, if I was to use that balance, then at the end of the day, because Buggy brings little to nothing to the table in terms of fighting prowess, you can make the argument the Emperors probably have the advantage. But at the same time, I don't think that would be the case because Akainu is not an Admiral. Akainu's not an Admiral. You can make the argument that the Admiral might be able to get the edge, but without Akainu being an Admiral, he's a Fleet Admiral now, so he's not in this conversation. If it's Luffy, Blackbeard, and Shanks versus Fujitora, Green Bull, and Kizaru, that's a discussion, but at first I was looking to lean towards the Admirals, but nah, I think at this point now, even though I had that mindset of the 3 Admirals and the 4 Emperors being of equal power, in this situation, in terms of a matchup, I might just go for the Emperors because losing Akainu in that situation, because he was the strongest of the 3. Akainu was the strongest of the 3, and losing him in this situation completely tips the scales. It just changes the entire aspect, and I feel that if Akainu, if he was still an Admiral, let's say it was let's just take Kizaru out of it. Let's say Kizaru somehow became Fleet Admiral, and all of a sudden it was Fujitora, Green Bull, and Akainu. I might lean towards the Admirals as opposed to taking Luffy, Blackbeard, and Shanks. But since that's not the case, I think you can make an argument for the Emperors being stronger than, or being a stronger force as being a stronger force than the Admirals. That's just how you have to say it. You could just say they're stronger. You know, because Akainu's not there in the three Admiral form, he's now Fleet Admiral. You could say the Emperors are stronger. At the same time, you could say the Admirals are stronger because Buggy's been added to the equation, and he brings nothing to the table. Either way, I think I'll probably still stick with my pick and say that they're about equal, but it's definitely a discussion that will be talked about in the Reverie. Cannot wait to tune into that. Anyway, that's all I gotta say here. Just wanted to discuss some One Piece here, you know. We're still on that break, and I had the thought of talking about the Admirals versus the Emperors. And yeah, I cannot wait for the Reverie. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Cannot wait to tune in. I cannot wait for these debates. And when we get to the Admirals versus the Emperors, that is going to be hilarious. They are going to wild out. There's going to be so many Conqueror clashes in the Reverie. I can't wait to see it. Anyway, that's all I got to say, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.